Well, hey everybody, how you doing? Small project on the Harley here. When I first bought it years ago, the shocks here, especially the top one up here, was the rubber had completely dissolved, even on the bottom, and right now it's a little loose. Now you can't find just regular rubber insulators on those shocks. So what I did was I got a couple of I don't know what you call them, a couple of rubber fillers, and since I was out in the wild and I wasn't in a shop, I had to cut with a pocket knife around to insert it in and then enlarge the hole where a screw about this size. It's a 3/8 16, and it's 2¼ inches long. Can go through the middle of it. In the middle of that, that rubber part of the shock absorber is a metal housing that the screw goes through. So the shock is still good. And you know, when I constructed what's in there now, which I'll show you when I get them out. You know, I mean, I just did what I could to make it passable, and for it to work without it rattling. Now they sell something. This is from Custom Shock Bushings. This is an interesting fix. Usually what people do when those shock absorber rubbers that the screw goes through wears out is they just replace the whole shock. And you cannot find just the part for that part of the shock. If the shock is still good, then you have to replace the whole shock. So I'm gonna see if these work. These are hard. They're not flexible rubber material that it usually uses, and it does away with the internal steel bushing that the cap screw goes through. So we're going to see if this works. I'm going to take it out because it is loose, and you know, again, I just sort of, you can see it's loose around the rubber, so the rubber is not in there totally. Now on the bottom side, look, I did a better job with my pocket knife fabricating something for this fix. 4 years ago I did this. So I'm going to try and fix this and see if it works. And I'll take you along for the ride, all right? Hang loose. So a little bit of a hiccup in the replacement of the shock bushings that I got here. Here are the ones that I got. There's a problem. They are not spec'd out correctly for whatever reason. They're about 48ths of an inch too wide. So I'm gonna have to modify this. The person I bought these from, by the way, makes them himself on his own lathe. He's an engineer, and the inside diameter, the outer diameter of this is just good enough that it can be pressed in, which I will do on my press here. But here's what I fabbed up a long time ago. It's not pretty. Remember, I did it with my I did this with my pocket knife, and then I had to cut the inside out to make that, essentially. These inside here are just a little bit worn. I could probably keep this, but I want to go with something that's pretty more stable, and also I think it is actually a improvement over OEM. This is one of the bolts that went through the shock, and I didn't notice this the first time I pulled it out, but you can see right here that somebody had gotten a bolt and cut it off because it was too long. I have no idea. The shenanigans that people do. I'm going to replace them with bolts. I found out the exact size and thread. It's the 3/8. It's 2¼ inches long. Cap bolts. And then he did have over them these little cool aluminum caps that go over the cap here. Actually, they go like this. Let me show you. And it kind of dresses it up a little bit. So I'm going to keep these and put them back on after I put some Mother's Mag and polish over it. But the first thing I need to do then, really, with these right here is he offered to send me new ones. And I said, you know what, it's only about 0.5, not even, I mean, it's very, very little to grind down. I want to put it on my wheel and grind it down and see if I can get it to fit. And then I'll press it in. So, as usual, when you start a project, shit happens. So this is one of the things I need to do. But at least, by the way, I'll say his name at the end, but he did a great job. I'm just going to say he's very responsive, very responsible too, and I would highly recommend him. Yeah, stay tuned for the end for that. Okay, I got the first one ground down. This is the side that has the Made in USA stamp on it, and you can see on this side here I ground it down. It's just a little bit different than the original. This is the stamp side on the next one. This is the other side that I ground down. On this one, got a little bit of a little piece here that I'll just knife off, I think. It was a tight fit, but it went in pretty well on the press over here. And I left a space here so I could do it real slowly. Instead of hitting it with a hammer, I wanted to go slow, so I elected to use the press. They went in pretty easily. And I just used like a 9/16. This is one of my sockets that's ruined, but it's a 9/16 deep socket that I put on top of it. So anyway, we'll move on to the next one now. Okay, I got it all back in. As you can see, this improvement puts the bushing all the way to the ends, whereas before there was a rubber bushing in the inside and then the spacer, metal spacer in there, pushed to the ends so it could fit in. This fits really nice. I have to say, I kind of like this setup a little bit. Because there's no real, you can't see the metal in there, which rusts away, and it fits nice and snug. Okay, as promised, this is the bushings that I put in, and that I had that I did a video for a day or so ago, and I promised that I would give a shout out to the guy who's responsible for these bushings, and here he is. I would recommend these bushings, even though for my particular fitment, as you know, there was an issue. The person who runs this company, great guy, his name is Derek, and he was very responsive to me for some of the small issues I have. Again, I think my particular bike was a particular small issue, but in the end, it really didn't matter. I just did a very mild modification, and everything turned out right. Derek did offer to send me brand new bushings, but I thought, you know, it didn't really matter. I'm a little bit handy, so I did it myself. But I would highly recommend you go to his website. Now, I found him on eBay, but if you go to his website, it might be cheaper for you to order them from there. So talk to Derek at Custom Shock Bushings. And these things will work not just on Harleys, but on a whole assortment of issues, including Polaris, Can-Ams, he says it right here, Hondas, and Arctic Cats, and more. Anything that where your shock is still in good shape and works, but the bushing has gone out of it, this is your guy. One other thing I'll say about Derek is that he turns his own bushings. He's an engineer. He makes these himself, so they're totally made in the USA. And you know, I cannot tell you how positive a response and feeling I get, and a business relationship I got from Custom Shock Bushings. So go there, okay? Hang loose, man. Thanks a lot. Hope you enjoyed this.